Hello everyone, and welcome back to Priest Brothers Lines. Today I have a short video about train storage. So if you've seen any of my videos in the past, you know that I have several of these really nice display cases for my trains. They're made out of wood, and they have nice thick shelves, and they've been stained, and they have plexiglass, and they have reflections. Hi. And I have one down here, and then of course one back here for my display, or for my Gaddix tank trains cars. And they look really nice, and they're nice for display, but they do have a few drawbacks. One, they take up a lot of space, and two, they're really expensive. So it takes quite a bit to get these together. These are all custom made with screws, with a nail gun, with all that. I use 1x4s on here, and then I have the plexiglass. Plexiglass is expensive, especially for big pieces like this. I think to cover this with the door, it was probably about $60 for this plexiglass. And so while it looks great, it's a great way to display your trains. I was looking for some way to store trains, or cars really, without needing to spend a lot of money. So let me show you what I did. So at first I was planning on building another custom storage shelf, but I wanted to try to make this as minimal work as possible. So I went to Walmart and found one of these bookcases that they sell. So this particular one cost about $20. It's a 3-shelf bookcase. It's black, it's made of MDF, and it works for the size that I need. I wanted it to fit under my train layout here. And so they make these in several different sizes, and of course you could find it from other places too. But this particular one was about 25 inches wide, about 32 inches tall, and about 11.5 inches deep. And I wanted something particularly for my 40-foot box cars. I have a bunch of 40-foot box cars, mostly the PFE reefers, but also the overnight box cars that I have, and they're all 40 feet, which is about 10 inches in O scale. And so this was perfect. It was about 11.5 inches deep. This would fit perfectly. So I bought one of these, and then I modified it for O scale storage. So let me show you the final product. So here is the finished product. So first thing I did was I built the shelf there, and as you see, it has a bottom shelf there, and then it has 2 additional shelves. Well, I made more shelves because I had a lot more space to work with, since I only need about 5 inches in between the shelves. So what I did was I got a tool called a router. If you don't know, a router is a tool that you're able to make streaks, lines like this. You can cut into wood and go straight across. It's kind of like a drill that you can go horizontally with. And so I did that to make the tracks, or where the tracks would be. Now, you could have your trains just sitting on top of the shelf, but then they kind of roll around. And of course, you could put track in here, but if I'm going to get one piece of track for every spot, that's going to get rather expensive. So I decided to just do this. And you can see it's not pretty, but it gets the job done. So just where the wheels would go. And we're only talking about 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/4 of an inch deep. And you just go straight down. And so here we go. We have 6 shelves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, 6 shelves. And I can fit 8 cars across. So I can fit 48 cars in this little bookcase. That's a lot of storage. So we have the overnight cars there. We have the orange and silver PFE cars, a few other 40-foot cars that fit in here. And so I can just fit a ton of cars in here right under my table. So I don't want to put stuff in boxes. That's the whole point. I don't want to put stuff in and out of boxes, and I wanted something easy, simple, and available. Now for the additional shelves, you can see here, I went to Home Depot and bought some 1/4" MDF. That's what this is. Now you'll notice that these are a lot thinner than this. This is probably about 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit thicker. And so in order to compensate for that, because I didn't want it to start to bow in the middle, I added some support. I'm just going to leave it in there. But I added some support. You can see that piece of wood there. That's about, I think it's 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch dowel, square dowel. And then I just glued it, one in the front, one in the back, just to add that extra support so that it doesn't droop. And it looks to be working pretty well on those. You can see it a little better there. So just that 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch dowel, I think that's what it was. And then just wood glued it and clamped it down. And that's adding some nice support there so it doesn't droop. And so I can fit 48 cars on this. It's really nice. It does what I need it to do, just to get cars off the layout, but not into boxes, and have them safely stored here. If I were to do this again, I would only have 7 cars going across, because it does get kind of tight in some places. And you can see it's not perfectly spaced out. But just for the sake of making sure there's no cars bumping like those two, or yeah, those are probably rubbing up against each other a little bit. I would have done 7 across instead of 8. But still, works really nice. Now, I always want to make sure these are covered when they're not in use. And there's several ways you can do this. You could make doors, you could do plexiglass, you could do hinges and have 2 doors going across. I wanted to keep it as cheap, simple, and functional as possible. So what I did was I found an old tablecloth that we were not using anymore, and I cut it to fit over here. And so there we go. And so I got some Velcro here that's sticky on both sides. I put 3 pieces on top, and then to make sure that it's covered in the bottom, I glued a washer down there, and then glued a magnet there, so that, there we go. And you can see that one's already stuck to the washer there. And so now it's rudimentary, it's not pretty, and the tablecloth is obviously very stained, but that's okay. Eventually this will be under some skirting here and you won't even see it. So it's just for storage, it's purely functional, it's not meant to look pretty at all, but it gets the job done, and I'm very happy with it. Very easy to build. Again, about $20 for the shelf, probably another $15 for the MDF, and of course a router. If you don't have that tool, maybe you know someone you can borrow from, or if you could spend about $80 to $100 on one, it's a really useful tool. So yeah, simple storage, simple solutions. I like it. So maybe you want to build something like this for yourself. If you're looking for some easy storage, you could build a bigger one, a smaller one. There's many different manufacturers make different shelves. So whatever fits well for you. And of course you can modify this by the scale that you have too. So it's not just O scale, it can be any scale. So I hope you got something from this. I appreciate you all watching. Please like, subscribe. My phone's going off. Have a great day. This is Priest Brothers Lines signing off.